everybody, and welcome to episode 4. How did you sleep last night? Well, I hope, because that is the topic of today's episode. Or I suppose actually, even if you didn't sleep well, maybe you will get some answers today. So, hi, Mark.
Hi everyone. Actually, Poppy, if we're really boring, they can get some sleep during our podcast, couldn't they?
We aim to please. Whatever you need.
Whatever we do, you're going to win. It's a winner, isn't it?
Amazing. But yeah, Mark and I were having a chat off air, and just I think sometimes we forget how important sleep is. And Mark, I was telling you, wasn't I, about my friend in Sydney who has been working all hours. He's not been getting enough sleep, and it made me think, let's have a chat about that and why sleep is so important. And obviously everyone knows we're here. Mark and I love talking about how things change across our lifespan, which we can know as a health span. So we'll also tease out how sleep needs change as we age as well, because we all know children and babies need more sleep. But what about adults? And what about genders as well? Does that affect the sleep we need? So Mark, be honest with us all. How did you sleep last night?
I slept really, really well last night. But the reason I slept really well was because I'd had a few nights where I slept quite poorly. So I'm very good at banking up my tiredness to the point where I almost collapse and then just get this massive night's sleep. So I'm pretty good. But I've always had problems with sleep. And the more I age, obviously, the less sleep I'm getting. But
Wow.
I'm managing. Okay.
Okay.
I've been to a sleep clinic. Did you know that?
No. Oh my gosh. What happens at a sleep clinic? Tell us.
Yeah, they tell you, they sort of go through about how you can improve your sleep, obviously, and but not just that, about improving the quality of your sleep, which is also important.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several strategies. I won't go through them because we're not prescribing here, but there's several strategies you can do. And it took me a while to get them under. But the problem I have is, I think, because we've discussed about neurodivergence and that, is my brain just goes mad. It's really hard to calm it down. So I've had to practice over the years to try and get my brain to this point where it's not flitting around all the time. So that's been the main issue for me. But yeah, so last night was a good night's kip, and I feel pretty good. I'm not quite there, but I'm pretty good. So what I have no doubt, I'll spend the next few nights with poor sleep, but then I'll get this massive night's sleep, high quality sleep going forward. What about you anyway? What about your sleep?
That's crazy. Do you know what? I relate to what you're saying about not being able to switch off, and I sleep really good. I actually feel really grateful that I do sleep really well. My problem is not wanting to go to bed. So I love like midnight. I love like the witching hour and midnight, and I never want to go to bed. But once I go to bed, I do normally sleep. My problem is though, if I wake up at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., that's when I have my best ideas. I don't know if anyone like listening gets this. I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I've got like the next cool idea. I don't know if that happens to you as well, Mark, or you're awake anyway. And I'm like, oh, I've got the next great thing. And then I never write it down. And then I'll wake up like, oh man, what was that really cool idea? But yeah, that's the only problem for me. Sometimes if I wake up, I find it hard to go back to sleep, but generally I sleep super good. And what I thought would be fun, I love hearing about your sleep clinic, by the way. But I thought it'd be fun for you and listeners to play along with a bit of a sleep quiz today. I've written some sleep questions and answers, and I thought we'd test, before we talk a bit more about why sleep's so important, I thought I'd test you, Mark. You like being on the spot on the podcast.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, great.
Right, okay.
Well, then, here we go.
Okay. Let me see. I've written quite a lot down. Right, here's something cool. Do you know anything about whether we dream in color or black and white?
No, but I can't answer that question.
Do you dream?
Yeah, and I had a dream the other night, and I was there. Isn't it? It's really vivid, isn't it? It's really realistic.
Like a lucid dream. Was it in color? Was it in color?
Yeah, it's fun. I can't remember. So what's the answer? Because I remember it being real. I was there, even though in reality I wasn't. So was it in color or not?
This is a crazy answer. Did you know today, this is official statistics as well, 75% of us dream in color. But do you know, before color TV, only 15% of people dreamt in color. So TV has got into our sleep wiring.
Wow. Does that mean like during the 40s and 50s, we all lived in black and white as well?
So I wonder if older people are still dreaming in black and white. But there's a research study to be done here, Mark.
Sometimes I'm sure some people think actually we lived in black and white as well.
Didn't you? Did you have 4 channels on the TV?
What are you saying?
No. I've got another thing. Do you know what and listeners, this one's for you, our appetite regulating hormone, leptin, do you know what changes in our sleep to our appetite hormone?
Well, I know about leptin and appetite activity.
So what do you think happens when we sleep?
Well, I'm guessing that our leptin levels drop down.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think it means if we don't sleep?
I was think they'd increase, and so we get hungry and we eat or something like that. Is it going to be something like that?
Yes, it's exactly that. So that if you're going without sleep, you're more likely to be eating more. So it's always going to affect your weight. You're exactly right. And here's this one's just not a fun fact, but I found out that, do you know, being awake for 16 hours straight decreases your performance as much as if your blood alcohol level was 0.05.
Oh.
The legal limit is 0.08. So pretty much going without sleep for so long is almost like being intoxicated with alcohol. That's crazy.
Yeah, because sleep deprivation is quite bad. I mean, you and I were talking about this before we did this podcast about how tired you feel just by missing one night skip. So it must be quite bad if you've done 3-4 night skip, you know.
And I think you can see that, you know, when you get tired, you become more forgetful. You start to feel like a bit dizzy, don't you? Almost like you are intoxicated. So it just shows the value of sleep. Now, you said that you might find it hard to sleep, Mark. Have you got any tried and tested things that you do in that kind of winding down time before bed?
Well, for me, it's trying to switch my brain off. So
have you tried like writing stuff down? I've heard that's a popular one. Like have a notebook and a pen, write down stuff to do tomorrow.
You know, I have a journal. I've always kept a journal for years, and I put everything. This is like a part of my brain, my memory. And if I remember something, if something comes up in the night and I think of that good idea you were talking about at 3 o'clock, I'll get up and write it down. So I'm sure my partner or my family was going, what the hell's Dad doing again? He's walking around the house. But I'm actually going and writing stuff down. So that is one way to do it, because
that's cool.
I know that if you write it down, you can almost forget about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to dwell on it. You just put it in a book, put the book aside, and then just get on with your sleep. The other thing is I try and clear my mind, and that proves really, really difficult. But I used to do some meditation classes once, and the guy said, this is wonderful, this meditation, because we're sitting up and doing the meditation, and he goes, but if you lay down, you fall asleep. And I've got ding, I like that. So I tried it, and I started to go to sleep quite well. The thing is, it takes a lot of practice, and you have to keep going with it and stuff like that. And so I still try and keep going with those techniques, but I'm finding at the moment they're not working very well. Hence the reason why I went to a sleep clinic. So what about you? How do you get your techniques?
Do you know one thing that I've started doing is thinking how, like, the routines I have with my children, because I always think about making it calm, no screens before bed, a story. And I'm like, why don't I try and nurture myself in that way? So I try and do that. So it's hard, isn't it, to not want to scroll before bed? That's my downfall. I just want to get as much scrolling done. But I found actually making a bit of space. So I always, some people listening, if you've been friends with me a while, will know I love brushing my teeth. That's literally my favorite thing to do. And so I love, when I brush my teeth at night, I always use a period of reflection and like gratitude at that point. So I kind of end on a high. Even if it's been a tough day, I look for what were the silver linings from that day. And I think about that while I brush my teeth. And I've also started to get into like sensory stuff. So making sure my bed's made with some nice sheets like before bedtime. So you're not rustling around with the duvet like right before bed. So you go in the room, it's calm, I have low lighting. I've started really loving wearing like soft socks before bed. And I always have a sleep spray, a lavender sleep spray that I spritz around the room. So all like the sensory things feel calm as well. And I'm really conscious we've only got about a minute to go, but I was reading as well how our sleep does change as we age, but also on average, people that are female need more sleep than men. I thought that was interesting, because I would have thought it would be the same. I guess I didn't really think.
I suppose do you know why? You got to look that up.
So I was reading that sleep is really linked to our hormones. maybe are we more hormonal as women? That isn't my area of specialty. Although being a woman, I know that I can be very hormonal. But yeah, really interesting. And I think the main thing that I took away from what I was reading about sleep is that we just need to remember how important it is.
Yeah.
And I just feel sorry for you, Mark, and your idea that you banked up sleep is that thing. But
I'll be all right. You know, I've been like this for decades, so
you know how your body works.
Yeah, and I know where my moods are going and stuff. So I'm quite, I'm not spiritual, but I'm quite aware of where I am and who I am as a person. Like, and so I know that if it's grumpy day, it's grumpy day, and if it's happy day, and you can cope. So it's just part of growing up, isn't it? Really. So
and actually, just to end on that point, I think it is about knowing yourself. I saw my friend Maria yesterday was calling it a death day when you know yourself, and particularly as a neurodivergent person, she's autistic ADHD. She was like, I know it's a death day today, and I'm literally just not going to do anything. So I think it's also being kind to yourself if you haven't had enough sleep. But really thinking about that key period before you do try and sleep to make it as calm as possible. So I feel like we had a lot more to talk about this. We might have to see how our feelers feel about sleep and come back to this in a few episodes, Mark.
Yeah, I think so. I think we may have to go back and explore this ground again because there's so much to discuss, isn't there?
There's so much to discuss. But let us know if you're watching this on YouTube. Let us know in the comments how you sleep and if you've got any little sleep tricks. Or do you have a journal like Mark that you write stuff down in? See, I lose my pen. That's why it's no good for me, Mark.
Oh, is that right? Oh, no, you can't. You could graft it to your forehead.
That's great. Yeah, just tattoo my body like Memento. Do you remember that film? On that note, that was the end of episode 4. Another scintillating episode. Next time I dream, I'm really going to reflect on if it was in colour or not. Mark, let me know if yours are black or white.
I can't remember. I wake up, I can't remember.
Right, still, we're over time now. We're going to end. But thank you, everyone. Oh, one last comment. Nigel, if you're watching, I hope you enjoy the lighting. I've actually moved space because I saw your comment on YouTube that you needed me to have a bit less light. So hopefully this is better for you. Do get commenting, guys. And thanks for joining us. And we'll be back super soon. Bye, Mark. Bye, everyone.
Bye.